Larry. Bob is here. Kim, Sam, and she. Okay. The first order of business is approval of meeting minutes Wednesday, April 14. Are there any corrections?
Yes, I'd like to just make a comment. Under warning implementation, just briefly, I presented my opinion to the commission that I felt that I was incapable of making the recommendations that are required with respect to that aspect of how it worked, and requested that it be scheduled as a separate agenda item at a future meeting. And unfortunately, those comments are not reflected in the minutes, but I'd ask that the commission consider amending these minutes to include those two facts.
I would move to that effect. Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Any other corrections to the minutes? Move to accept.
Motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's no consent agenda, no executive session, no scheduled requests to address. We have got a couple of things here, presentations. I would entertain a motion to move like 12A, a grid tech grant presentation. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's see, here Mr. Earhart, is it?
I'm Arthur Earhart, Grid Tech, but Tom Hennessy is trying to conduct the session.
Today, I've put out some literature there in front of you. It's articulated concrete block. It can be used for slope stabilization and for erosion control. That was its original intent. They've open cell and closed cell designs. And the unique feature about this, it's been tested and plume tested for scour protection. And the great thing here for wave protection and wave prevention, you can actually plant and let grass grow up around it so it becomes a green solution. And here's a couple of applications of before and after. It grows in. It's actually been done here locally, Indian Run Dam in South Kingston. There's a pond here with a spillway, and actually below that is that articulated concrete block that you see in front of you. And you can see once it does fill in with the grass, it becomes almost invisible to the eye, but the protection is there behind that grass. And I was over there with Bill. Bill Young was with me this evening in the wintertime, and we actually walked out on the ice so you could see it below the ice. And that's the only way you could really see it the day we were out there, because it's completely covered by the grass. This type of block system is also used for boat ramps and marine applications. It's been used and recognized by the United States Navy and Marines. They fortify in a lot of their training facilities down in Florida and South Carolina where they come ashore just to prevent that scour damage. And tonight's presentation, I have about 5 or 6 slides, and I have a couple of photographs of a job we just completed in Newport Poplar Street. And this can be laid in and put right into the water, so people who use the local or public boat ramp can back their boats right into the water. And it does fill in and provide a good offloading area for the boats to get into the water and launch their boats. Here's a couple of applications that you can see. You just lay it out into the water, either an open cell or closed cell, depending on what the application may be. And the unique thing here, and I'll pass this around to you, they have cables, so you can actually assemble this with cables, so you can actually broadcast this out with an excavator. And the cables are there just as an installation aid, as you see here. We rent that boom that you see there, and it just connects to an excavator, so they can actually pick it up off the truck and actually lay it down into the water with minimal impact to the environment. As you can see there in this particular application, they are laying it out from the shore. In this particular case, they had a barge. Locally, it's been done on a couple of occasions in Connecticut as well as in Rhode Island here. Most recently, about a year ago, Salem Newport, they contacted us. They had a scenario where they had this cast-in-place concrete ramp that they were using for the sailing school that they have there. They can launch their small sailboats. And originally on the engineering plan here was to drive sheeting, dewater, completely demolish that existing ramp that was there. And once they put together and got some cost estimates, it was really almost cost prohibitive for them to go ahead and do it. And they approached us, and actually Arthur, and said, do you have a product that we might be able to work less expensively than what was shown on the contract plan? And what we came up with was using these articulated concrete blocks. We actually laid them down on top of that existing concrete ramp that was there. We put down a subgrade material on it with a non-woven geotextile. This goes down, and then the grid goes on top of it, and that grid actually engages that stone and holds it into place. It's a Tensar 1300 grid. This is a non-woven geotextile. It acts as a separation barrier. And then in this particular case, they were laid by hand to go over the top of this. So what they did on this one, they actually went over the top of that existing concrete and actually towed it in on the outsides, and on the other side it was underneath the dock that's there. That was back up. As you can see here, they actually rounded it and towed it in to prevent any wave action from upsetting those blocks that are there. Now if you see those blocks, they have the tab and they will lock together, and that's what holds them into place. Then you pack the same stone around the top of it to hold it into place. And there's the finished product. As you see, they paved up to it, and that extends out about 15 feet into the ocean, and that's towed in out in the ocean to prevent any issues out there in the ocean. And now they can launch their sailboats as they have their sailing school in the summertime. Most recently, about 2 weeks ago, Poplar Street in Newport. This is a public access in between a couple of homes on Poplar Street. And as you can see there, this ramp had seen better days. They tried to fortify it years ago. There's some steel mesh there that they actually put down and tried to fortify it and then pave over the top of it. But of course, Mother Nature, with the wave action, just sort of busted up. And here's what it was when we went out for a site visit prior to the bid. This was bid directly to the city of Newport. And the contractor just provided a dewatering barrier. He put concrete blocks out there and actually put a poly liner in the back of it, excavated all the subgrade material that was substandard, put down stone, the rough subgrade, put down that non-woven geotextile that you see there in that grid, and then put the stone, and then put the block on. Again, these were hand placed because it was a small area, and they were working between that two stone walls that you see. This homeowner on the right-hand side had a cast-in-place wall that you see there. On the other side was actually a fieldstone wall. So they actually, and there's a drainage pipe that you see there. We're actually able to roll those block up and over that drainage area. That drainage pipe is the discharge out into the harbor. So it's very flexible and very unique in how it can be used and utilized. Here's another project that was done. If any of you folks have been over to Rocky Hill or Glastonbury, Connecticut, there's still a ferry that crosses across the Connecticut River. And we were approached, they had a lot of prop scour. Every time when that was loaded up, that ferry, they have a small tugboat that's there, and actually as he starts up his engine, that prop scour, they're getting a huge scour hole just outside. It was very difficult for the barge or the ferry to get up close to the ramp. As you can see there, this one was very sensitive to the environment. They could not put any additional fill into that. The DEP in Connecticut, they used that boom that I showed earlier, and they actually stayed on shore, and they actually broadcast that out with the boom. And they had some divers out there to make sure it was seeded properly. But it was minimal impact. They couldn't add any additional material in. They had to use all the native riverbank material. As you can see there, it's all scoured in. This is on the opposite side from that other photo. But as you can see, they just paved right up to it. It's minimal impact to the river. And that's how the Armorflex block can be used.